Welcome to US-based news channel. One of the biggest attacks of 2023 has been carried out. Strong explosions occurred in the Belgorod region of Russia. Russia's territory may be included in the new front of the war. Successive explosions from the region caused panic on the Moscow side. Tension between the countries is reaching the line phase. Attack efforts of the Russian soldiers, which cannot reach their goals, continue. Ukrainian armed and air forces hit many Russian military points with their precise moves. Russian Ka-52 helicopter was shot down and successive explosions were reported from the areas. Vice President of the European Commission made important statements about Ukraine's desire to become a member of the European Union. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky addressed NATO. Swedish Foreign Minister Tobias Billström made critical statements. Sweden's longest-range weapon will be sent to Ukraine. War is advancing in favor of Ukraine. In this war that lasted more than 10 months, any move is of greater importance now. For this, mutual operations are gradually increasing. Especially in recent days, the increased operations on the Eastern Front have started to spread to Russian territory. After the operations and record attacks launched by the Ukrainian army in the past days, this time the Russian troops took action. However, the Russian soldiers, who are getting more and more difficult in the operations they started, are losing significant losses every day. Moreover, this time, their own country's territory is at risk. Panic is increasing in Moscow. According to the breaking news, the most violent attack of 2023 was organized in the Belgorod region on the border of Russia. At least 15 explosions were reported as a result of the attack on Shebekinsky and Shebekino districts. According to the allegations, these regions were showered with attacks by the Ukrainian army. It was stated that this mysterious attack was carried out at night, and as a result of the bombardment, the Russian military points in the regions were seriously damaged. It was announced that the attack on this Belgorod region was carried out using mortars or missiles. As a result of the attack, it was reported that the air defense systems in the region were activated and panic increased as a result of the violent explosions. As it is known, this region is located on the northeastern border of Ukraine. Such border areas pose a risk of attack for both sides. Attacks of the Russian forces on the territory of Ukraine continue. Russian troops carried out 2 missiles and 22 air strikes during the day. It also launched 18 attacks with its multiple launch rocket system, including attacks on infrastructure. It was announced that the threat of air and missile attacks on critical infrastructures on the territory of Ukraine still continues. But as it is known, no purpose can be achieved with these attacks. Because whenever Russia attacks infrastructures, aid to Ukraine increases and damaged infrastructures begin to be repaired rapidly. This situation causes the ammunition used by Russia in the attacks to be wasted and to make wasted efforts. Russia, which is already experiencing serious military resource shortages, may have to face greater defeats and losses if it makes more wrong moves. In addition, the attacks of Ukraine were announced. Ukrainian Air Force carried out 13 attacks on the points where the Russian forces are concentrated and 3 attacks on the points where the Russian anti-aircraft missile systems are located. However, it was announced that the Ukrainian defense shot down 2 reconnaissance drones and a Russian Ka-52 helicopter. Ukrainian rocket and artillery units also announced that they hit 4 points where Russian forces and equipment are concentrated, 3 ammunition depots and Russian checkpoints. Smoke rose from each of these points and powerful explosions were heard. By hitting these ammunition points, it is aimed to reduce Russian military resources and reduce the operational power of Russian soldiers. With the shooting at the command points, it is aimed to neutralize the experienced Russian soldiers at this point and to cut off communication with the soldiers on the fronts. When these are provided, it becomes much more difficult for Russia to achieve success, especially in ground operations. On the other hand, the Vice President of the European Commission, in his remarkable statement, stated that Ukraine cannot be a member of the European Union at the moment. Frans Timmermans, Vice President of the European Commission, stated that as long as there are Russian soldiers on Ukrainian soil, it cannot become a member of the European Union. He stated that Ukraine should come out of this war successfully and that the European Union should help Ukraine in this goal. Ukraine has been granted candidate status for accession to the European Union, but this is difficult to progress. Timmermans explained that Ukraine must fulfill the conditions for accession to the European Union, after which it is technically impossible for the accession negotiations to take place before the autumn of 2023. Although Ukraine has repeatedly emphasized that it wants to join NATO and the European Union, it seems very difficult for these troops to be included in the war. Ukraine, on the other hand, awaits decisions on joining these units. President of Ukraine Zelensky addressed NATO. In his speech, Zelensky stated that supporting Ukraine with open-door rhetoric is not enough to motivate Ukraine and indeed Ukrainian soldiers. He said they expected at least the status of candidate for accession to be granted, as the European Union has done. He explained that forward steps should be taken and they are waiting for strong steps. NATO Secretary-General also stated that the first duty of the allied countries is to help Ukraine in its war with Russia and that full membership can only be discussed after Ukraine's victory. Although Zelensky expects progress, it seems difficult to see this progress as the war continues. One of the most important reasons for this is that if Ukraine becomes a member of these unions, the responsibility on many countries increases in accordance with legal conditions. At the same time, Russia's attacking a member country will mean that it will attack other countries as well. Since this situation may cause other countries to enter the war, it is not possible to provide these memberships while the war continues. On the other hand, support from other countries continues to Ukraine. New military equipment for Ukraine continues to arrive. Swedish Foreign Minister Tobias Billström stated that Ukraine should be given as many offensive weapons as possible in order to attack Russian forces, and that Sweden should also do its part. He also announced that they are planning to supply the Archer, Sweden's longest-range self-propelled gun, to Ukraine. It is estimated that this weapon can be a significant problem for Russia, as they can hit at distances of up to 60 kilometers. In addition, it is thought that if these artillery equipment is used with several self-propelled guns, it can reach an extremely large damage power due to its high rate of fire. It is estimated that 18 Archer self-propelled guns were issued from such weapons, but the official number of transfers was not shared. It is estimated that the supply of weapons could be as early as January. Such long-range military equipment is of great importance for countries in the course of the war. Thanks to these weapons, it is possible to attack much more points from much longer distances. In addition, due to its long range, it can be deployed at longer distances. This makes it more difficult for Russian soldiers to destroy these military equipment or to prevent attacks from them. Such support from countries can determine the course of the war. For this, if Ukraine is to gain an advantage in the war, it has been necessary to continue such support. Now, the various supports provided by the countries and the steps taken on the fronts are of much more critical importance. For this, all moves to be made must be carried out in a strategic direction and very carefully. Now each move is more critical than the previous one. We'll see what happens in the next few days. We have reached the end of another video. You can support us by liking the video. You can easily follow new videos by subscribing. I wish you all a war-free day. See you.